Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili 2 is taking place this weekend at UFC 316, men, and I'm excited. I am very excited for this pay-per-view as a whole, and in particular, the main event. Sean O'Malley is my favorite fighter. A lot of people aren't going to like that. You know, Sean O'Malley, he's universally hated by most MMA fans. A lot of people call him an industry plant. A lot of people say that he got everything handed to him, but I like Sean O'Malley, and nothing's going to change that, man. I'm excited for this fight, but a lot of people are talking about this fight as if it's literally the worst fight ever. It shouldn't have been booked. Sean O'Malley doesn't deserve a title shot. Okay, that's fair. Who deserves a title shot more than O'Malley? Who deserves a title shot more than O'Malley? No one in the division deserves a title shot more than O'Malley. You're going to give Peter Yan a title shot? Peter Yan got 50-45 by Merab Dvalishvili. You're going to give Corey Sandhagen a title shot, who's coming off a loss when this fight got booked. Who are you going to give a title shot? Who are you going to give a title shot to? Aljamain Sterling, who's in a completely other division because he ran away from Sugar Sean O'Malley? No one in the division deserves a title shot. You know, you can maybe make an argument for Alessandro Pantoja deserving a title shot, but Pantoja literally came out and stated that he does not want to go up and fight for the bantamweight title. He doesn't care to. He wants to keep clip farming against flyweight bums, so that's fair. But no one other than Sean O'Malley deserves a title shot. It's the only fair fight, man. Corey Sandhagen's a bum. Peter Yan's a bum. Everyone else in the division is a bum. Sean O'Malley deserves a title shot, and there's nothing you can do about it, kid, because what do you want Sean O'Malley to do? Turn down the fight? If you get a call to fight for a UFC title, are you turning it down? No, Dana. I don't want to fight for the title. I need a couple more fights before I can fight for the title. Those words have never been uttered in UFC history. No one is turning down a title shot. Unless they're injured or unless it's too late notice, no one is turning down a title shot when they have a full camp ahead of them and they're ready for it. No one's turning that down. So don't hate, man. Sean O'Malley, I understand that he's only had one title defense. He's not some dominant champion like we've seen before. He's just one title shot against Chito Vera, but he's the only one who deserves it right now. And you can't hate that, man. You can't hate on him for that. But there's a couple key points that I want to touch on before we actually break down this fight. The first point I have to talk about is Sugar Sean O'Malley was injured in that first fight. And you can hate on me all you want. You can call it cope. But he was injured in that first fight. And that's got to mean something. He had a torn labrum 8 weeks out. You know, I'm not saying it completely changed the fight. I'm not saying that Sean O'Malley would have stuffed all of Merab Dvalishvili's takedowns. But it had to have affected him at least a little bit. If you have an insane grappler who's just shooting relentless takedowns on you for 5 rounds, that torn labrum is going to hurt. You're not going to be 100%. And I understand. You can make the argument, oh, it's the fight game, bro. No one's 100% in the fight game. But Sean O'Malley did have a torn labrum. That's a pretty nasty injury. Before the fight even ended, he already knew he was going to have a surgery after that. So you can't hate on this man for being injured in that fight. I'm not saying Sean O'Malley would have came in there and flatlined Merab Dvalishvili if he didn't have a torn labrum, but it did have to mean something, dude. The next thing I want to talk about is that Sugar Sean O'Malley hurt Merab Dvalishvili in that 5th round. I talked about it in my last video, but he hurt the cardio machine Merab Dvalishvili in that 5th round. And that just shows you that Sean O'Malley isn't going to gas out. He's not going to pull an Umar where he's just going to gas out after round 3. No, he has the 5-round cardio. He has the experience, and he's not going to gas out against Merab. Because who's taking the 5th round off of Merab like Sean O'Malley did? And that was a dominant round by O'Malley, by the way. That 5th round of their first fight, very dominant round. He stunned Merab with that teep kick, and Merab was running around the cage like a headless chicken. And yeah, Sean O'Malley clearly won that round. Another point I want to touch on is that Sean O'Malley has reinvented himself, dude. You can call me crazy. You can say, bro, you really think it's going to change everything? I'm not saying that Sean O'Malley is just going to get some magical superpowers for not dyeing his hair, for not gooning, for not being on social media, but that's got to mean something. I keep saying that. That has to mean something. And it is all these little changes that Sean O'Malley is making in his life that will just give him that extra help to beat Merab Dvalishvili. That's got to mean something, man. I truly do believe that. For the first time since his fight against, like, I don't know, Jose Quinones, he's not dyeing his hair. So that does mean something, dude. He's actually locked in. And the final thing I want to talk about, is that their first fight was competitive. I made a video about this yesterday. If you really care enough to listen to that video, you can. I do believe their first fight was competitive. You can hate me all you want. I know some kid is already leaving a hate comment, but their first fight was competitive. You cannot disagree with that if you have an actual intellectual brain. The final thing, not the final thing, we have a lot more things to talk about, but I want to talk about the keys to victory for each of these fighters. Obviously, we'll start off with Sugar Sean O'Malley. Sugar Sean O'Malley, the first key to victory is use the teep kick up the middle. We've seen in that first fight, you hurt Merab Dvalishvili with a nasty teep kick. You had him running around in that 5th round. You have to use more of those. And I got to give credit. In that first fight, Sean O'Malley used a lot of teep kicks up the middle, and it worked. So just do it again, man. Do it again. If it worked the first time, it's going to work the second time. The next key to victory I have for Sean O'Malley, don't get backed up into the cage. Don't get backed up where your back's against the cage and Merab's going to shoot an easy takedown and get it. You cannot have that happen to you. Sean O'Malley, he's one of those fighters who usually marches you down. But in this fight, Merab was literally marching this guy down. The torn labrum. It was a torn labrum, man. You cannot tell me the torn labrum did not affect Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley was on the back foot this entire fight, similar to how Alex Pereira was against Magomed Ankalaev. And I see a lot of similarities in that fight, too. That's a very good comparison by me, dude. Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley 1 is a very similar to fight to Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. But that's a story for another day. And the final key to victory for Sean O'Malley that I do have, listen, kid, don't accept the position. You got to be JDM. JDM, he's never accepting a position. He's always trying to get off his back. And Sean O'Malley does a decent job at that. But I need you to just be relentless, dude. Be relentless in terms of just getting off your back, getting off your butt. Just try. Do a Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis doesn't believe in jiu-jitsu. He just steps right back up. Sean O'Malley, you cannot accept a position. If Merab Dvalishvili is laying on you for more than half of the round, well, then you pretty much already lost that round. You cannot have that happen. So those are my keys to victory for Sugar Sean O'Malley. My keys to victory for Merab. It's going to be shoot relentless takedowns. This is a Merab special. He always just shoots relentless takedowns. This kid shot like 50 takedown attempts against Peter Yan. So just always be shooting takedowns. I assume Merab's already going to do this, but obviously it's still important that he does this. The next tip I have from Merab, a key to victory, make it dirty, dude. Make it dirty in terms of the boxing. And you're probably saying, Merab doesn't have boxing. Look at that first fight. All the times that Merab just kind of just scrambled in there and just threw a bunch of punches and bunches at O'Malley and was able to get a takedown, those counted for something. And I do believe that's why the judges leaned to Merab. The several little exchanges that Merab had where he landed a nice 1-2 on O'Malley, just pushing him back. I do think that he has to make it dirty. Also, he's got to make sure he doesn't get caught when he's doing that, especially against someone like a sniper like Sean O'Malley. But just try to make it dirty, Merab. Just be a dirty little fighter, man. Dirty little Georgian. Make it dirty. The final thing I want to talk about, the final key to victory I want to say for Merab, is going to be try to gas O'Malley out. I know he does this against everyone. I said O'Malley's not going to get gassed, but just try, man. Try to keep him on the ground. Try to keep him working. You're not going to You're not going to get gassed out, Merab, so there's no problem in that. I truly believe if Merab just relentless takedowns, it's gonna affect O'Malley's cardio at least a little bit. So just make sure to shoot relentless takedowns. Try to gas this kid out. And yeah, man, let's talk about how I actually seen this fight playing out. I think. Okay, I'm gonna say it right now. I think Sean O'Malley's beating Merab. I know it's probably biased, but I'm not gonna take my words back in my boy. Since I started this channel, I have said that Sean O'Malley will get his belt back. This means something. This is where it all comes down to. I believe Sean O'Malley is getting his belt back. That is my opinion. You can hate on me for that, and I'm gonna go over how I think Sean O'Malley is gonna get his belt back. I made a comparison earlier that this fight is very similar to Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira. I see this fight going to a very close decision. It's definitely gonna be a split decision for me. It's 49-46, 48-47, 48-47. One judge is just going to be a little lost with that 49-46, but two judges are going to have it 48-47, and I think O'Malley is going to rock Merab. I do believe that Sean O'Malley will rock Merab, and Sean O'Malley might be able to get a TKO. I can see Sean O'Malley getting a nice 1-2 on Merab. Merab's backing up. And the narrative that Merab's chinny has kind of disappeared after that first fight. He's had 2 fights where he hasn't got rocked. But you got to understand, before that, this dude was getting rocked by Marlon Moraes. Before that, this dude was getting rocked by Henry Cejudo. I'm not saying Merab's some, absolute Cody Garbrandt chin type of guy, but he's a little bit chinny. Sean O'Malley just has to find the perfect shot, and I can see a sequence where Sean O'Malley lands a nice 1-2, stuns Merab. Merab's backed up against the cage. Sean O'Malley feints a knee up the middle and just pieces up Merab, dude. I can totally see that. And I think Merab's just gonna have couple round, not a couple, because obviously that'll be the entire fight, but maybe Merab's gonna have the first round where he just lays on Sean O'Malley, and we're thinking, oh, this is just gonna be the first fight. He's just gonna lay on him the whole time, and then Sean O'Malley starts to find his range. Sean O'Malley starts to find his rhythm. Sean O'Malley starts throwing the jab. He starts keeping the leg kick, and I do think Sean O'Malley is definitely gonna grow into this fight, and I think Sean O'Malley is gonna either win by a TKO or just a split decision. I can see this fight being very close. You know, maybe Sean O'Malley loses the first, wins the second, wins the third, wins the fourth, and then Merab takes the fifth with his cardio. I do see that's how the fight plays out, man, and I'm really nervous for this fight. I need Sean O'Malley to win. I've made countless videos on this channel talking about how Sean O'Malley needs to win, and it all comes down to this, man. If you guys enjoyed this video, please help me, pray for me, and thank you guys for everything. MMA Outpost out.